Hello everyone, this is Jerry. Welcome or welcome back. In this video, we'll assemble the Christmas tree nightlight model, a digital download from creativevilla.com, where you can find lots of fun paper model templates ranging from beginner to advanced in a variety of categories. Before we dive in, I want to show you the finished, assembled Christmas tree model. It's made up of the main tree and the stand or base. I'll start at the top row and work my way down to the base. Then I'll cut out and glue the little snow or highlight parts to the branches. And finally, I'll add the little plastic light bulbs to the branches. These do not come with the download obviously, but I've put a link to where you can buy these online in the description below, as well as the puck light that I am using. Stay tuned to the end of the video to see the final illuminated Christmas tree, as well as the silver one I've created. For this project, you will need the following: 8.5 by 11 inch paper around 80-pound thickness or similar weight cardstock, a scoring tool or dull edge knife for scoring fold lines. You can find scoring tools at your local hobby store or of course online. A model or paper craft cutting knife. I will be using and recommend a sharp X-Acto type knife. These are extremely sharp and are definitely an adult tool, so please be careful when using a straight edge for cutting and scoring. I recommend a transparent straight edge so you can see what's underneath. I'll be using a small clear drafted triangle, which you can see is pretty beat up but works just fine. And lastly, quick drying model glue or super glue, which is what I use and recommend for fast gluing to keep your project moving along quickly. The downside to super glue, as you will see in most of my videos, it's easy to glue your fingers to the paper or to each other, so please be careful when using super glue with your projects. I've downloaded the Christmas tree templates from creativevilla.com. I've printed out the instructions on plain paper. I'm going to use green paper for the main tree color, so I've printed the templates that say dark green on 10 sheets of 65-pound paper. I've also printed out the snow or highlight elements on a light green colored paper. We'll attach these after the entire tree is assembled. If you don't have colored paper, that's okay. I've also printed out a set on white paper, which I assembled to create a white and silver tree, which I'll show you at the end of the video along with this one. Every paper model template comes with an instruction sheet detailing the difficulty level of this particular model, how many pieces of paper you will need, as well as some short but detailed instructions on recommended assembly. Creative Villa paper models are broken up into elements. These elements are usually assembled individually and then attached to other elements as the model progresses until the entire model is complete. Note the pro tips at the bottom of the page. Assemble from small to large, from center to out, and from inside enclosed areas to open areas. Imagine painting a floor. You wouldn't start at the door and end up in the corner and get stuck. Same principle applies here when assembling paper models. I will be following the instructions at the bottom of the sheet, as well as giving you any tips or recommended techniques along the way. The Christmas tree template is designed to be assembled by gluing matching lettered or numbered tabs to each other. Most paper models you will find attach the tab to a face on the inside of the model instead of another tab. A lot of the more advanced models on creativevilla.com do the same, but you also end up with the numbers and lines on the outside of the model. This is because it is assumed you are going to paint or decorate those particular ones and not illuminate them from within. If you took a standard paper model from the site and put a light in it, you will see the seams from the tabs showing through along with the numbers. The nightlight models from the site are designed to be assembled in a way where you won't have any tabs showing through when illuminated. By gluing the tabs to each other instead of to a face, they will face inward toward the center of the model away from the sides. This stops the tabs from blocking the light. So when looking at these templates, you are actually looking at the inside of the model, and the back of the sheet will end up being the outside of the model. I'll start here at step number 1. I'll score all the fold lines on this page and then begin cutting out the individual elements and attaching them together. Here we go. As with all my videos, I'll fast forward through all the boring parts, but stop to recommend any tips or techniques along the way. I prefer to score the fold lines before cutting out the individual pieces. It's just easier, in my opinion, to score a large sheet rather than small little bits of paper. I would normally use a straight edge for cutting as well, but as you can see, all the cut lines are actually the tabs themselves. They don't have to be perfect, as you won't see them anyway. Alright, our first piece. Dashed lines fold away from you, dotted lines fold inward towards you. When this particular model is assembled, the dashed lines will create what's called valley folds, and the dotted lines will create what's called mountain folds. I'm gonna fold all the fold lines on this piece and then attach it to itself. I'm carefully bending the fold lines to create a nice crease. Don't be shy about rescoring if you think you need a sharper crease. With the right score, it should fold without too much resistance. I always stress in my videos the importance of good scoring. It will make your model assembling a lot easier and a lot more fun. I prefer to cut pieces out one at a time, instead of all at once. It helps keep things organized, and you always know how many pieces you have left to go. Alright, now I'll glue this piece to itself. Notice the letters and numbers on the edge tabs here. The letters will be glued to each other within the element. A to A, B to B, etc. The numbered tabs will be glued to the second piece by lining up the matching numbered tabs, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and so on. I'm lining up the tabs with matching letters and attaching them with a little glue. And now for element number 2. Okay, I'm not going to close the second piece to itself just yet. Instead, I'm going to start somewhere in the middle of piece number 2 and attach it to the first piece by lining up the numbered tabs. Then glue one tab at a time and go around until it's completely attached, and then I'll close piece number 2. I like to make sure the pieces line up and the folds are good before getting the sticky stuff involved in case I need to adjust the score or fold. I'll just put a little bit of super glue on one of the matching tabs here. A little super glue goes a very long way, so try not to use too much. A quick request regarding your scraps. Please consider recycling your paper scraps. These will go back into the system to produce products you use every day like cardboard, paper towels, and newspapers. Before we continue, I want to talk about what happens if you get glue on one of the outside faces, which by the way will happen a lot. You can be as careful as you want, but it will happen. Couple things you can do. If you are using coated paper, usually shiny or glossy, there is a good chance you can remove the glue from the paper using something like Goo Gone or glue remover without hurting the paper. As you can see by my bottle, I'm no stranger to glue cleanup. However, if you're using non-coated paper like construction paper or what I'm using now, getting glue on the outside face will soak into the paper and be almost impossible to clean up. But all is not lost. What I do is print out the template again on standard cheap white printer paper. Then, using my scraps, I cut out a little patch piece for the face that got ruined. Simply place it where it belongs, make sure it fits, and then glue that piece on top of the one with the glue stain. Let's get back to assembling. I'm going to fast forward a bit through rows 3 through 7. Then assemble the base and the tree branch highlights. That is the main part of the tree. Now I'll assemble the stand and see how the tree fits on top. You may have noticed in the download a sheet called Optional Tree Bottom Supports and wondered what that was. Well, depending on the thickness or weight of the paper you are using and how you decorate your tree by adding things like lights, etc., it may start to buckle at the base due to the weight. Anything less than 80-pound paper will most likely encounter this. For this reason, there are supports included with the template which will thicken the bottom of the tree to prevent it from warping or buckling. I'm using 65-pound paper. So I'm going to go ahead and glue 2 of these supports to the bottom of my tree to be safe. If I find later that it's not enough, I can always add another one. Don't worry about aesthetics or lining it up perfectly. It's the bottom of the tree and will not be seen. This is strictly an engineering exercise. I went ahead and patched all my glue spots so the tree is nice and clean. Okay, now I'll start to score and cut out the little highlight pieces and glue them to the branches that protrude from the tree. These are optional, but I think it adds a little character. Also, these can be printed on standard printer paper, as they are just like stickers and are not being used for structure. I'm just putting a little glue on them and then sticking them to the tree branches one side at a time, making sure to start at the middle. I'll fast forward here as there are a lot of little pieces. Alright, the assembly part is complete. I've decided to give the tree a very light dusting of glitter spray paint. I held the can a couple feet from the tree and just lightly dusted it from above, just to give it a little glitter. Glitter paint can be found at hobby stores. This is what I used. And finally, I'm going to add little plastic lights that will light up when I put an LED puck light inside of the tree. These are available at hobby stores and of course online. I'm going to start about midway up the branch and very carefully start to create a hole with my knife, and then use something a little less dangerous to poke a large enough hole to fit the lights. I'll use the star that these lights came with to do the job. I'm not making the hole too big, but just a bit smaller than the light stems. And then I'm using the light stem itself to push the rest of the way through. I'll add just a little glue on the base of the light and affix it to the tree. The stem of the light acts like fiber optics and will direct the light from inside the tree to the little bulbs. I'll fast forward here as I attach these guys. I'm placing them on the edge of each branch that sticks out, but I'm not going to put them on the very top section of the tree. And that is the last one. Wow, if you are like me, this is bringing back childhood memories of your parents' ceramic Christmas tree, which lit up the little colored bulbs. And here is the final tree with lights off and on. Pretty cool. Also, I want to show you the silver tree as well. I spray painted the white paper with a little glitter spray paint to give it a bit of sparkle. Then I used only the white lights on this one. It really has its own character compared to the traditional green one. That completes this assemble video. I hope you got some good tips and ideas that you can bring to your own projects. You can find the link to this digital download project and many others from creativevilla.com in the description below. If you have any suggestions for future assemble videos, let us know in the comments below. Thanks and best wishes.
You can find more fun paper model templates like this one over at creativevilla.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notified when new videos are posted. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.